amazing group of people we have to speak with you tonight. We're going to have our new police chief, Robert Jonsen. Bob Jonsen is over there. And our fire chief, Eric Nickel, my colleagues in the public safety team. They're going to kind of provide some closing remarks.
Well, good evening. My name is Eric Nickel. I'm the fire chief. Let me just finish up the answer on the fire and just highlight a couple of things that most recently came out of the October firestorm up in the North Bay. Obviously, our biggest concern is structure fires and what turns into an urban conflagration after an earthquake. So, as Ken noted, the important thing of securing the natural gas, if you have a gas leak, there's some very interesting stories that have come out of the North Bay fires where literally the Santa Rosa firefighters were driving through neighborhoods and throwing hoses and nozzles off the side of the fire engine and connecting them to the hydrant. And the homes that were saved in some of these neighborhoods were by neighbors that basically made a stand there. The reality is all fire services, all emergency services will be completely overwhelmed. That's why what you do is so important. And the comments that I wanted to make to you tonight is, on behalf of the 110 men and women of the Palo Alto Fire Department, we take inspiration from you. And we thank you because we can't be everywhere and do everything, particularly in a large-scale disaster. Just like you count on us on a day-to-day basis, we count on you in the large disaster. We love partnering with you and working hand in hand with you. I was going to make a couple of comments about, some of our crew's experience in Santa Rosa, and even the professional firefighters. When we sent our first 2 engines up there, they were up in Santa Rosa that Monday morning by about 9:30 a.m. And so they were up there very quickly. They were on their own. They didn't come up for air until Wednesday. There was the disaster was so much bigger and things were burning so fast. They were on their own to find their own food. These crews did not come up for air, didn't see a base camp until Wednesday. So even the professionals, if it's that impacted on us and we have no logistics support, can you imagine for you as individual citizens and residents? The other thing I wanted to say, particularly tied back into the social media content, one of the benefits of having a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old is you get to see the next generation of social media. So if my daughter was on that train, she'd be on Snapchat taking pictures of herself in different poses and not getting off the train. And if it was my son on that train, he would be using Venmo saying, "Hey, Dad, send money." Okay? So we had a deal this fall where my son's cell phone went missing. And it's not unusual. My son goes to college up in Montana. It's not unusual to go a week or two without hearing from him. But I got nervous when my daughter said, "He hasn't opened my Snapchat." And that was unusual. So it was like, okay, I knew his phone's sort of been on the fritz. And I was able to go on Messenger and see that he had been active, so I knew my kid was alive. But literally, the first contact he had was on Venmo. "Dad, my phone is dead. Can you send me some money so I can get a new cell phone?" So anyway, but to sum it up, we can't do it without you. We value the work that you do day in and day out. And I'm very active with fire chiefs statewide, and the teams that you all have put together, through Ken's leadership, through Annette's dogged determination, this doesn't happen in a lot of cities statewide, nationwide. It's really unusual to have a city this size that has this robust of a city effort, paid staff for an OES a leadership team, and then this. This does not occur out there. And it's because of you. It's because of your passion and your commitment to this community. And for us, like I said, we take inspiration from it. So thank you from the fire department. I salute you and clap you. But you really don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from the new police chief, right? You want to hear from the new police chief. I'm really excited that Bob's on board. Chief Johnson, you want to come up and close us out?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to say, let's have another round of applause for the presenters. It was very informative. True story. I was announced as your next chief of police back in November. And the following day, I got an email from Annette. This was back in November. I just started last Monday. And she said, I need to get you on board. We got a lot of things going on in Palo Alto. There's no time to waste. I said, I'm all with you, but can you wait till I get there in January? She said, no, we can't. You need to get busy now. So I walked upstairs, told the city manager in Menlo Park, sorry, boss, this lady from Palo Alto is demanding that I get busy, so I'm going to have to cut out a little early. But you know, it's an amazing thing, the power of people. And that's really, if you think about it, in our lifetime, in every lifetime, we come across moments in life that we never forget. You remember exactly where you were and what you were doing. And me becoming your police chief was not one of those moments. But the reality is, in 2001, on September 11th, was one of those moments. And that is what was the birth, really, of the Citizen Corps, the concept. Right? It was a year later that this country realized the importance of mobilizing our citizens throughout this country. And the purpose of that, if you remember, the mission was to harness the power of every individual in this country through training, through education, so that we would be better prepared, stronger, and safer for all of our communities in that moment when we needed to respond. And tonight, I have to commend all of you for being here. It's a Thursday night. You could be home watching the Kardashians, The Bachelor, The Voice, who knows, but you're here. And it shows, just like Chief Nichols said, the commitment of the residents of this city to be prepared. So as your chief, as I mentioned when I was approved by the council, I'm not Chief Burns. I lack his height, and I definitely lack his hair. And the first thing I thought of when Brandon showed that bottle with a little water is I'd at least be able to get 2 or 3 more shaves in before, you know, I really needed it. So the fact is, though, I'm here for you. I'm extremely excited to be part of Palo Alto. We have 170 outstanding men and women who are willing to serve this community in every capacity. But just as Chief Nichols said, we can't be everywhere. And as I told the council that night, even though most people see public safety falling under the realm of law enforcement and police department and the fire department, we can't do it alone. It has to be through a collaborative effort if we really want to be successful in helping each other. So thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for being here. And I feel privileged to have the opportunity to say thank you to you personally. God bless you.